guys, my name is Onyx Flex, and today I'm joined by Laurian, an FGA and GIA gemologist, and we're going to go over malachite, a true beauty and also very common in high jewelry. So let's break down the prices, qualities, how it's formed, and all that good stuff you need to know.
Let's go.
So the very first thing I want to address is that there's a lot of talk about being toxic on the market.
Yes, so malachite, as most of us know, it's in copper ores. So it's found in mines that have copper-bearing gemstones, minerals, and malachite is formed there. So of course you don't drink it, you don't put it in water. I see a lot of people in more of the power of the gemstones, they put it in a glass of water to let it soak overnight and then drink the water afterwards. Don't do that. This is how you get poisoning.
Why do people do that? That's
this
very
is
strange.
how you get cancer.
This is like the Tide Pod challenge.
Exactly.
Wow.
So it's not dangerous if it touches your skin. It's not dangerous on jewelry. It's not dangerous at all to you. But it's dangerous if you try to ingest it. It's dangerous if you try to drink it. It's dangerous if you cut it. So a lapidary artist that wants to cut malachite, you have to wear a mask because it's full of copper and you can get copper poisoning, of course. So yes, it's toxic, but not that toxic.
Yeah, you'd really have to inhale it in the powder form.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
okay.
And when you cut it with the lapidary art, usually you add water to it so the powder doesn't go everywhere in the room. But you're gonna have bad headaches. You're gonna be dizzy. You can vomit at the worst case scenario, and you can have copper poisoning. But don't do it. Put it in jewelry. Let professionals handle it, and you'll have zero problems.
Yeah, it's kind of like the thing of like certain stones have like radiation, but like they're not going to be to the point where like you're going to become sick from it.
Exactly. Moldavite is a good example on TikTok a few months ago, and it's radioactive.
Yeah, very cool.
So on the Mo scale, it's a soft stone. It's considered a soft stone in jewelry too. You're not going to keep it intact for years. It's going to get scratches, abrasions, that's for sure. It's often used in Africa, most of the time, for sculptures. So you can have little sculptures like this. You can have huge ones. You can have pens. You can have letter openers. You can use the powder as a pigment for the eyeshadows in ancient times, not today. And it can be used also in painting. It's really a strong saturated color that can have multiple uses. And you can even use the powder to make some smaller bracelets like this. They're not expensive. They're made with copper and malachite powder. So it can be used a lot, and especially for high-end jewelry, what they like to do is use the rough and play with the color zonings in the stones.
Yeah.
So the color zonings are important. You don't want a green malachite that has no lines.
Yeah.
You want to see the lines. You want to see the round shapes. You want to see the straight lines too, with the darker colors, the paler colors, the forest greens. You want it.
Yeah, 100%. And I think you see a lot in like Van Cleef and Arpels, like those floral necklaces. I feel like that's a classic aesthetic.
Yes, and the difficult part about it is to have pairs. So if you want, you can take a look at these ones. You can see that they have the exact same lines.
Yeah.
And that's difficult to do here today for malachite, because you have to have the exact same piece of rough, no other impurities, and then cut it perfectly straight at the same place. So it's a fun stone to have and to work with, but you have to know how to work it, and you have to protect yourself, of course.
And I think that's really the perfect transition into like the quality. So we're going over the colors, you know, the carat weights, all that kind of stuff. But in terms of like the color, like what is the most desired?
You want a pattern that is botryoidal. So that's also a type of growth for the malachite. The malachite can be a stalactite, a stalagmite. It can also be botryoidal, or it can be some smaller crystals. But the botryoidal one is formed a bit like this specimen. You can see bubbles. So it's a bit like a little lava that dried. It looks like lava that dried, but it's bubbles that you can see are rounded. And this is a botryoidal pattern. That means that when you cut it, you're gonna have perfectly spherical circles. Okay. So in case you don't see it very well, I'm gonna show you a specimen that's a little bit more special. So botryoidal here, you get all the spheres, the rounds. So this gives you the color zoning. You can see it better here with an azurite and malachite. So this is a type of gemstone that can be found with malachite. It's a bright blue, and you can see the perfect circles inside the malachite. So this is the botryoidal formation, and this is one of the rarest in malachite that you want to see. And there are two rare formations that you want the botryoidal formation, and you want the silky formation. So a slightly smooth silky surface with little micro crystals in it, and it's bright. It looks like tissue. It looks like
And this is
clothes.
what we're seeing here.
Botryoidal. Yeah, you can see it a bit on the surface, the silky surface here. And some people like to cut it and keep the surface intact
Okay.
because it's special. You don't see it in every type of gemstone.
Mm-hmm. It does have a silky finish. Yeah.
Exactly, and it's beautiful. And as you can see here, they really used the round formation of botryoidal with the little play of colors. So this stone would be one of the most expensive malachites.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's gorgeous, the contrast of the blue and the green.
And if you want to see what an Azurite looks like without the malachite, it's a bit like this.
Yeah.
But this is a natural color. It's not dyed. It's not. There's nothing done to it. It's natural geode, and when it fuses with the malachite, it gives this. You can also have some gemstones that are called chrysocolla that have a mix of malachite in it too. And you also have here some really dark blue colors along with the green and a little bit of pale blue. These are the most expensive malachite and azurite gemstones you can find. If you only want the malachite, then you want to have some qualities, let's say like this one, where the contrast between the colors is bigger.
Yeah.
So you really have some pale green and dark green, almost black. You can see a beautiful contrast. It doesn't look real. It looks man-made, but it's
does look
natural.
man-made. Like basically, I guess like a good example would probably be between like these two, where the lines are much darker than this one.
Exactly. This one you see it much
It's a
less.
little bit more faded.
Exactly. So this one would be more expensive. And then you can see here, the person used the botryoidal pattern, and you can see the start of a circle with all the little colors in it. And here, you can see the circle on top. With
Very
a paler
interesting.
color. If some of you are wondering, no, the color doesn't fade in sunlight. It doesn't fade if you put it in water. It's stable. So the color stays stable, and it's going to stay stable forever. The only thing that's going to happen is your malachite is going to get scratched up with use and wear. That's all. But the color, always going to be there.
Okay, and does it age nicely, or it ages kind of like it'll get foggy, I assume?
It'll get a bit foggy because the polish is gonna disappear because you use it every day. You're gonna wear the ring, so it's gonna get a bit foggy. If it doesn't bother you, keep it. If it bothers you, we can repolish it easily.
If you guys can smash that like button, hit subscribe, it helps these small videos perform more than you can imagine, so thank you so much, and let's jump back into it. And is it hard to find high enough quality for cutting?
No, it's not that hard to find. The hard part is getting it out of the country.
Oh, really? Okay.
So the main producer today is Congo, and I'm glad you asked the question and that you came to me for malachite. Do you know why?
Why?
My grandpa, are you ready?
Yes.
My grandpa was a miner in
Oh,
Katanga in the
Okay.
copper and malachite mines.
Oh, very cool.
So this is a family heirloom, and my grandpa used to go to the mines every day to mine the malachite and the copper mines. And he brought back specimens because the company was more interested in the copper.
Oh, very cool.
So it's a
And
fun.
do you have finished like cut pieces?
I have a lot of them. These pieces are all mine,
Wow. All from the Congo.
all from Congo.
That's so cool. And is it still in production, the mine?
The mine is still in production. You can still find tons of malachite. The hard part is getting them out of the country because today getting any kind of precious gemstone out of Congo legally is hard. You have to have the paperwork, you have to pay a lot of people, you have to pay for the right to pass, you have to pay for the art. If you want to get this little turtle out of Congo today, you have to pay a lot of people for it.
Okay.
Because one, it's a bit corrupted, and two, they want to keep the artisanal cutting inside the country, which is a good thing. But you cannot get a big rough like this anymore easily.
Okay, so basically they want to keep the jobs in the country, so you'll only be able to find cut pieces, finished pieces. and not
Exactly.
rough.
If you
Yeah,
find some
okay.
bigger rough pieces, then that means it's old stock. Or
Like-
it
like
was brought back
Tanzanite.
through Kenya or other countries.
Okay, illegally. So it's kind of like Tanzanite, essentially.
It's
And
kind of
we
like
saw the same
Tanzanite.
thing with that,
Uh-huh.
yeah.
We also, Africa has a lot of conflict. So for sure, Congo is one of them. It's one of the countries where I wouldn't recommend people to go because it's dangerous. And if you don't know people, don't go. You're gonna get stolen. Everything's stolen from you.
Okay. have you been to the mine?
I haven't been to the mine because it's too dangerous for
Too
me.
dangerous. Okay, yeah. Interesting. Wow.
Just to tell you how much, I mean, I've lived in Congo for 7 years. My family is from Congo, and I haven't been to the mine.
Wow. Okay.
And malachite was used a lot in history So the Tsars, Russia had malachite.
Okay.
The Tsars had a lot of malachite. The Egyptians used it along with lapis lazuli. So malachite is an old gemstone, and it was used in precious jewelry for thousands of years. Congo today is the main place where you can find malachite. There were some places closer to Russia, closer to Egypt, Kenya, I think, but today it's mainly Congo.
Okay.
They're the biggest ones.
They're no longer producing.
They're
just
producing.
not-
They're producing. It's just most of the big rough stays inside the country. So what you get are the cut pieces.
Okay.
And most people, what they do, it's a bit like me. I take some old stock. These are old stock beads, so I buy the beads to get them out of the country legally, and then we cut them into cabochons to get some higher quality
Ooh,
pieces.
Really? Sneaky, sneaky.
Sneaky, sneaky.
I love that. Wow.
But
these
I
are just
reuse.
beads.
Yeah. But I reuse them.
Wow. That's so crazy.
But it's what most people do today.
Yeah.
If they don't find the shape they want, if they don't find the quality they want,
Yeah.
they make it themselves.
Yeah, I guess you have to.
Since you can't find big rough like this anymore.
I was kind of wondering, in terms of like the cutting of it, because it's so soft, does it have to be certain thicknesses or cuts that you should look out for?
Yes, I'd say thickness, I would put it a minimum of 2.5 millimeters thickness, because if you take it with your hand, 2 millimeters, even 2 millimeters, a little plaque, it's gonna break.
Yeah.
And even if you take a pen like this, it's thick, you drop it on the ground, it breaks. It's gonna break. It already broke 3 times. Here.
Oh, okay.
So it's fragile, and you can sculpt easily in it. You have some big sculptures, but as soon as you drop it, you're sure it's gonna break. So jewelry, you have to protect it well. That's why you see jewelry like Van Cleef. They have the little pieces in the necklaces. It's well protected.
Yeah.
You're not gonna hit it easily. You're not gonna scratch it easily. So in jewelry, you have to be careful with it. But it's a classic.
Yeah, it is a classic, and it looks excellent set in yellow gold. It really pops. I'm actually surprised because you do see it quite a bit in like rings and stuff. So I'm actually surprised that this is this soft.
One of the advantages of malachite is that you can polish it also easily.
Yeah,
So if you bring it to a lapidary or your jeweler or a jewelry store, normally they know someone that can repolish your ring. So that's great. That's an easy step to do. It's not as difficult as let's say repolishing a sapphire.
Okay.
So if you have a cabochon, it's also easily replaced. So if you have a cabochon that you don't like anymore, you don't like the lines, you don't like the color, or it's too used, then you can just replace it easily. So it's not the most expensive stone, but it's easily used in jewelry. It's a classic, and it has a great color.
Excellent color. Yeah, I mean, I just saw the specimen. Look how crazy this is. The formation is beautiful.
And you can see, again, the botryoidal formation.
They're also a stone that's a little bit more dense, correct?
Yes.
So they're going to weigh a little bit more than the average gemstone for the same size. So they're going to be smaller as well. But the price per carat isn't exceptional, so I don't think it's like that big of a deal.
No, it's not that big of a deal. If you take a big piece like this, of course it's big, so it's heavy, but it's heavier than, let's say, you would have a piece of tanzanite. It's impossible to get that size. Don't get your ideas up. But a piece like this is easily about 8 to 9 kilos. So, and you can do a lot of sculptures in there for sure. And if you take a piece like this, it's really dense, it's heavy, it's easy to drop.
Yeah.
But it's easily cuttable. You can cut anything in tanzanite. It's fun for lapidaries.
Yeah. Now that we touched on some of the good stuff, let's go into the prices and maybe some eye candy pieces.
Let's go. So let's say if you look at this beautiful piece, the one that I say would be one of the most expensive. So this is a mix of Azurite, Malachite, it's from Congo. This one would be in the $500. To give you an idea. So it's not the most expensive. It's a big gemstone. You can have a beautiful pendant with it. If you look into a lower quality, so let's say I take this cabochon, you don't see a lot of difference in the saturations and in the colors. This cabochon would be more like $30. See, so it's really affordable for everyone if you want to have a special jewelry made for it. If you go into that type, so it's just green, doesn't have any azurite, but has a beautiful pattern. This one would be more into the 120 to 150 a piece. So it's not the most expensive gemstone. It's affordable for everyone, but that's good. It means we have options.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it's very, very reasonable in price. In terms of like the treatments, what are the most common treatments that we see?
Commonly, there are no treatments for malachite from Congo or any other country, but I have seen the same treatment as turquoise, so resin treatment. They just it's porous, so they can just fill it with resin to get it a little bit more durable.
Okay.
To get the stone to harden a little bit more, to get it more durable, for the polish to last longer. So there is a treatment that exists. No one tells you about it. It's not divulged. Divulged. Thank you, my accent.
And how common is that? But
I'd
that almost
say
doesn't sound like a bad thing if it's almost a protective coat.
it's not a bad thing, but you have to say it.
Yeah, you have to say it.
When you buy it, you have to know about it, because if a jeweler takes your tanzanite piece and puts it in the ultrasonic, you're done.
Yeah.
You're done. It's gonna be all porous, destroyed. You don't put it in acid. Don't put it in warm bath. Don't put it in ultrasonic. Don't do anything with it.
Okay.
A little soap, a little warm water, not a hot bath. Warm water, toothbrush. That's fine.
That's it. Okay. So it's very, very
But
tender.
yeah, you just have to say it.
Yeah.
You just have to tell the truth. So I'd say maybe a little bit less than 10% of the malachites you see on the market are treated, resin treated.
Okay. And do they dye the resin as well?
No.
To enhance the color? No.
No, we don't need to.
Okay.
The green is natural.
Okay.
That's the fun part. You don't need to dye to get a beautiful color.
For imitations, do you have?
I don't have one with me here, but what you often see is, let's say, some bracelets like this. They use the powder of the malachite and makes you think it's a whole piece of rough instead of powder. And they also use a lot of plastic. They use a lot of glass. Glass, plastic are the main.
Okay.
I'd say the main imitations
Can I
of
see
malachite. Yeah, of course. It's all little small pieces and powders, but you don't see it very well. It's well made, so you think it's a whole piece of rough on it.
Yeah. It's basically kind of like little slabs. We'll do a close up, but like almost little slabs all stuck inside.
And they
almost like a mosaic.
Exactly, and they put colored resin in it.
Yeah. Oh, interesting.
So you don't see the hole, so you don't see it that it's not complete. So I'd say there's not a lot of imitations, but the best ones would be plastic, because they can play with the green colors, they can play with the lines in plastic and in glass. So that would be the ones to watch out for. I'd say the first thing you do when you want to see if your tanzanite is real or not, touch it. See if it's cold.
Yeah.
Not warm, not lukewarm. You want it to be cold, crystal cold. It's colder than glass. So if you want to test the theory, touch a piece of glass, touch a piece of plastic, and it's colder than glass. So that's going to give you an idea if it's true tanzanite or not. If you're a little more advanced, then you can check out the lines, the color zonings, and see if it looks natural or not. Plastic can imitate, but it's never going to imitate a beautiful wave of colors that is naturally made.
We do have some examples of beads. I would say they do look a little bit unnatural, but just more kind of like the contrast of the color isn't quite right.
Exactly, and the black it looks a bit unnatural. You can see that the colors also don't move much, so if you have a green pattern, then there's nothing else in it. I don't know if you can get the slight difference. Here you can see it's not all black and white. I mean, it's green, but you can see some different
like nuance, basically.
Nuances in the green, even if you have some color zonings. And this one, it's more like, okay, forest green, okay, black, okay, pale green. It's less naturally made.
Like harsh contrast of color. Thank you so much, Laurian.
No problem.
If ever you guys have any questions, do leave them down below. We also have our short form content if you want to go on like our TikToks for Dominant Flux or on our Instagram, Find and Flux. And yeah, thank you so much. And
Thank
we'll
you.
See you next time. Bye.